From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily for Friday, June 26th. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway says it will block some fans from watching the Indianapolis 500 live in person this year. Speedway leaders confirm the track will be capped at half its capacity for a race already delayed by 2 months because of the coronavirus. IMS President Doug Bowles made the surprise announcement today. Bowles tells News 8 that IMS has already reached out to those who've bought tickets, offering the option to give up the seats and have priority for next year's race. He wouldn't give us an exact number for how many people have bought tickets so far, but Bowles did say several people have responded to IMS saying they don't really feel comfortable going to the race anyway, even at half capacity. Ticket sales for this year have been suspended. Bowles says there is a chance they'll reopen if a large enough number of people opt out. And once IMS has that information back, the venue will be readjusted. Bowles also says they're working on several other safety plans related to the virus, and that we'll learn more about those as we get closer to the August 23rd race date. Bowles says they are still determining what to do if not enough people voluntarily give up their ticket. He did say that regardless of the limited capacity, the blackout will not be lifted, and IMS will stick to a nighttime replay as in years past. Another annual May event's been canceled. Indiana University Health Foundation called off Rev 2020. It's being rescheduled for August 1st. Rev is a philanthropic event benefiting IU Health patients and serves as an IU Health Foundation's largest annual event fundraiser. Also today announced the annual FFA convention set for downtown Indianapolis is canceled. It's going to be held virtually instead. The National FFA Board of Directors said it made the decision based on the many challenges, of course, created by the pandemic. The convention virtual dates will stay the same. They're October 28th through the 31st, but just again, that virtual host. The FFA plans to release some more details in August. Right now, I am joined by Chris Gall with Visit Indy. Chris, thanks so much for taking some time. I know you're really busy right now trying to figure out what to do and keep the city on track here.
Well, thanks, Kylie. Yeah, while it's hard to hear, we truly do understand and appreciate the time and thoughtfulness that National FFA invested in arriving at this very difficult decision. And we truly do care first and foremost about the long-term health of National FFA, especially because they're a member of our community. They're headquartered here. Not only do they meet here, but they're headquartered here. So we've been proud to host this convention since 2006. As a point of perspective, last year, more than 68,000 attendees raced into Indy for the convention, and they generated $38 million in economic impact. We were bracing for an uptick, 70,000 attendees and $40 million in economic impact. So we do understand, though, that the well-being of those visitors is paramount. And so it's hard news, but we understand.
And I think that's kind of par for the course, right? You just keep getting hit with one after another events pulling out of town, but there's really not many options out there.
You know, these large-scale events are wrestling with how to either socially distance the convention and the event and drive attendance while also having best practices in place. And so we have to date lost more than 225 conventions. That represents March through FFA's a decision that's more than $300 million in economic impact. And, you know, we wake up and do what we do every day to drive tourism to the capital city because of the record-setting 83,000 men and women who depend on tourism for a paycheck. And tourism has come to a screeching halt nationwide. Certainly Indianapolis is not immune from this ripple impact that COVID-19 has had on tourism. Yet we do have some conventions still slated to happen later in the year, some smaller meetings and some sporting events. So we're doing everything we can to stay as competitive as we can from a tourism perspective. But make no mistake, we have truly felt the economics on this pandemic and what it's done to businesses and tourism as a whole.
Thankfully, we, knock on all the wood in the room, we'll get the FFA convention back next year. I know that they signed a long contract to keep coming back for years to come. So I guess eyes on the prize, right?
Absolutely. We 2 more years. They signed up. Their current agreement was through 2031. And they signed up for 2 more years as part of their longstanding commitment to Indianapolis. We feel that's emblematic of our partnership. So we have FFA safe and sound through 2033. So that is the silver lining with today's news, that they're going to go virtual for 2020, and we'll expect to have them back in all those sea of corduroy jackets for many years to come.
And so what's next on the horizon for Visit Indy?
We're focused on making sure that our fall conventions, late summer fall conventions, stay in place. And we're anxious to see what happens with the Big Ten football championship in December. We're also beginning marketing and advertising to in-state residents for the first time. We've been pausing our advertising since mid-March. And so on Monday, actually, we'll launch a in-state Hoosier campaign where we'll invite Hoosiers to come to the capital city, and they'll have the opportunity to unlock up to 50% off hotel rates. We believe that there are a lot of Hoosiers who have missed out on the spring break, who have been cooped up, who have earned this trip to the capital city, and we want to invite them by virtue of offering up to 50% off hotel rates. And so we're going to start advertising again and hope that Hoosiers will come home to the capital city and help us celebrate 200th birthday as things start opening back up in a very safe, meaningful way.
Awesome. Chris, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for taking time, and I'll be in touch.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks so much.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Infection numbers are rising in at least 32 states, driving the number of coronavirus cases in the United States to a record high. Health officials are warning about another staggering peak of coronavirus cases, raising questions about whether economies across the country relaunched too soon. The United States recorded almost 40,000 new cases in a single day yesterday, toppling the previous daily record set in April. In Florida, the state hit almost 9,000 cases yesterday. Miami's mayor says its city is seeing 900 cases a day, up from 533 cases per day earlier on in the pandemic. Meanwhile, in Texas, Harris County officials are raising the warning system level to severe, the highest threat. Houston is the most populous city in the county and on track to become one of the hardest hit spots in the United States. Texas is now slowing the reopening plans, as are several other states, including Arizona and New Mexico. Health workers have confirmed more than 2.4 million coronavirus cases in the United States, although the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says it's likely more than 20 million Americans have become infected. In Indiana, the numbers are not so bleak. Another 510 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. That makes for a total of 44,140 cases statewide. The Democratic-controlled House has approved a bill to make the District of Columbia the 51st state. Democratic lawmakers say Congress has both the moral obligation and constitutional authority to ensure that the city's 700,000 residents are allowed full voting rights, no longer subject to taxation without representation. The district's non-voting representative in Congress, Eleanor Holmes Norton, is sponsoring the bill, saying it has both the facts and Constitution on its side. D.C.'s population is larger than those of Wyoming and Vermont, and its budget is larger than 12 states. Action on the bill in the GOP-controlled Senate is unlikely. The Minneapolis City Council has unanimously voted to advance a plan that could one day do away with the city's police department following the protests and unrest over the killing of George Floyd. The council voted Friday in favor of a proposal to amend the city charter to replace the current department with a Department of Community Safety and Violence Prevention that would prioritize a holistic and public health-oriented approach. Several more bureaucratic obstacles would remain for the proposal to make it onto the November ballot, where Minneapolis residents would then have the final say. Recent shootings in the area have heightened concerns about talk of eliminating police. George Nader, a key Mueller report witness, gets minimum 10-year sentence in child sex case. Nader was a key witness in the Russia investigation and informally advised President Donald Trump's team on foreign policy. He was sentenced today to 10 years in prison by a federal judge there in Virginia. It stemmed from his convictions on child sex charges. The judge announced a sentence today, closing a disturbing case that exposed Nader's double life as a pedophile who also advised top U.S. and Middle Eastern officials. Earlier this year, Nader pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography that depicted sexual abuse of minors and admitted bringing an underage boy to the U.S. for sex. These crimes happened before the 2016 election, when Nader worked his way into Trump's orbit and served as an informal foreign policy advisor to the transition, attending high-level meetings. Nader, 61 years old, has already been in jail for more than a year and could apply for compassionate release because of the pandemic after he's formally transferred to a federal prison. As part of a plea deal, the Justice Department agreed to recommend that Nader only receive the mandatory minimum sentence of that 10 years in prison. Facebook says it will flag all newsworthy posts from politicians that break its rules, including those from President Donald Trump. CEO Mark Zuckerberg had previously refused to take action against Trump posts, suggesting that mail-in ballots will lead to voter fraud. Twitter, by contrast, slapped a "Get the Facts" label on them. Facebook is also banning false claims intended to discourage voting, like stories about federal agents checking legal status at polling places. The company also said it's increasing its enforcement capacity to remove false claims about local polling conditions in the 72 hours before the U.S. election. And on a very positive note, today is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. See you back here for the Daily 8 on Monday. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
AllIndianaPodcastNetwork.com.